Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I am your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 95 of our trek. Yesterday we looked at the first of the 4 habits that form habits. If you've missed yesterday's trek, please check it out at iTunes or at wisdom-trek.com so that you'll be caught up with us on our trek. We are recording our podcast from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. I am making some slow progress on the woodwork in the dining room, and it's a bit overwhelming with the amount of woodwork in that room. Since I am just using mineral spirits to take off the old varnish instead of paint and varnish stripper, it is somewhat difficult to tell where I've worked, but the towels that I'm wiping the woodwork down with are evidence that we are making progress. As with our trek of life, we will continue to take it one day at a time, as that is all we have any promise of anyway. We will continue to travel the trails of habit formation, and now it is time to break camp and move out for the day. On the first trail that we explored yesterday, we learned that the best way to establish lasting positive habits in our lives is to start exceedingly small, even if it seems ridiculous. I personally struggle with this as I want to jump headlong into everything that I am doing, but my own experience and science proves that if we want to create habits that last, we need to make it so easy that we can't say no, and actually doing the habit is much more important than how much you do. As a reminder, we need to understand that it is very important to realize that if we desire to rid ourselves of the bad habits in any areas of our lives, that we must, at the same time, form new and positive habits, or we'll just fall back into the same routine and never be freed from the shackles that hold us back. The key law of life is that when we say no to one choice, we are automatically saying yes to another. As we begin to say no to our bad habits, let us say yes to the positive habits that replace them. When it comes to habit formation, we would do well to read and understand the Apostle Paul's letter to the church at Galatia, chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. Those who live only to satisfy their own sinful nature will harvest decay and death from that sinful nature. But those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life from the Spirit. On our trails yesterday and today, we are exploring the research from habit creation specialist Leo Barbuta as we hike the 4 habits that form habits trails. So let's look at trail number 2 today. Be mindful of negative thoughts. Most people will skip this habit because they don't think it's necessary, and then they wonder why their habits fail. Habit formation starts in the mind. You must learn to watch your thoughts. We all have a lot of self-talk that we may not even be aware of. If we are trying to lose weight, for instance, your mind will start rationalizing the idea of just one cookie. One won't hurt. Why are you torturing yourself? Is it really worth it? Just give in. It's much easier. You can't do this. It's just too hard. Think about those thoughts for a second. How many do you have that you're not even aware of? How powerful are they? Did you realize that they were even there? How many times have they caused you to eat something that you shouldn't have? And how often do these kind of thoughts act on you? The same thoughts happen when you start running or exercising. Your mind will say, you should stop now, it's too hard. You'll feel much better when you stop. And of course, thoughts like these are very tempting and very powerful. I find for myself when I'm exercising or running, if I establish shorter milestones, then when I reach them, I have the strength and desire to continue on further. When you find these negative thoughts that creep into your mind, realize that they are just thoughts. They don't have to control you. They are just things that happen that pop into your mind, like a leaf falling from a tree as you run by. Maybe an interesting phenomenon, but not a determination of your life. So watch your thoughts, then learn to let go of them. Get good at being discomfortable. Triumph over your childish, selfish, scared mind. Then you'll have victory in your habits. And that leads us to habit trail number 3, savor the habit. This is sort of the opposite of habit trail number 2, but possibly even more important. We have to rid ourselves of negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts. Your new habit isn't some sort of sacrifice, some sort of chore that you need to get through to get to your better life. Your new habit is your better life. The new habit, whatever it is, should be something that you enjoy. So choose to learn to enjoy it. Otherwise, it won't be with you for very long. If you want to eat healthier, learn to enjoy the taste of delicious, fresh, and healthy food. An apple can be just as delicious as any junk food snack if you pay attention to it and savor it. And on the flip side, I don't think anyone enjoyed their first drag on a cigarette, but it became a negative and addicting habit over time. Eating healthy requires that you change your taste buds to savor and enjoy what your body naturally craves. Recent science studies is proving that sugar can be just as addicting and harmful as cocaine. It is only that the resulting obesity is more culturally acceptable than drug addiction that there is not an outcry about it. If you are exercising, pay close attention to and enjoy the moving of your body, the feeling of exertion, the flow of the blood through your vein, and the focus that you gain. Once you work up to a strenuous exercise, your body produces its own reward centers that allow you to crave that which is good for you. If you are writing, sit with your words and enjoy the quiet concentration, the exhilaration of creation. Every blog post or novel was written one word at a time. Work up to creating your own novel of life, one word at a time, and make it a good story, a legacy story. Learn to enjoy the habit, and the habit will become its own reward. The goal isn't some distant achievement, but the process itself. And as I remind you each day, enjoy your journey. That brings us to habit trail number 4. Have a plan when you falter. This is really key. There are so many people that I know have done really well with their habit for the first 6 or 7 days, and then some disruption happens. It's incredibly common that it does, but then they never restart. Get in the habit of restarting when you falter. Now, how would you do that? Well, accountability is the key. Make commitments that have an impact on you. Here's one example. Promise your friend or your spouse that you'll pay them $25 if you miss a new habit 2 days in a row, and then double that the next day to $50, and double it again if you miss 4 days in a row to $100, and double it every day you miss in a row after that. Now, if you don't have the monetary means to do that, promise to mow someone's lawn or wash your car or clean their toilets if you miss 3 days in a row. Have others hold you accountable. Give them permission to get in your face if you miss 2 or 3 days in a row. And deny yourself something that you really desire if you miss your habit times. Missing 1 day in a row is not an end of a habit. Missing 2 days isn't great, but you can recover. But if you miss 3 days or more, the habit is pretty well shot. So don't allow yourself to miss 3 days. And try your hardest not to even miss 2 days. This is very important. It can literally be the difference between a rich and satisfying life or one lived poorly and without gratification. So here's a recap of forming the 4 habits. So how do you form those habits that will form all other habits? First, keep it as simple as possible. Choose one incredibly easy habit to do in the next 2 weeks. Floss 1 tooth, drink 1 glass of water, eat 1 piece of fruit, exercise or meditate or write or do yoga for 2 minutes a day, just 2 minutes. Second, get rid of all your negative thinking. Don't allow that doubt and fear to possess you. Third, install positive thinking. Learn to enjoy your new habits as they are forming. And fourth, have an accountability plan in place and prepare ahead of time so that there are no excuses. Then apply all 4 of these to your 2 minutes every day. You'll start to learn to form a new habit, and that skill will pay off for a lifetime. Now that we know the 4 habits that form habits, implement them into your life and come along with us on our hike tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. And we will discover what it means to be in your zone of genius. Well, that will finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of the previous podcasts, please check out Wisdom Trek on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, YouTube, or at wisdom-trek.com. If you enjoy our daily doses of wisdom, these little nuggets we consume each day, I encourage you to take the time to invest in yourself in these 3 ways. Invest with your time in improving Wisdom Trek by leaving your name, email address, and a comment on our website so that we can provide you with the wisdom and insights that best fit your needs. Number 2, invest in yourself by listening to your 7 minutes of wisdom through the Wisdom Trek podcast each day. And the best way to do this is to subscribe at iTunes or Stitcher and have it downloaded to you automatically. And third, invest in the lives of others by sharing with your family and friends, in person or online, to journey with us on our Wisdom Trek. And if you haven't done so already, please leave us a rating at iTunes or Stitcher so that we'll gain more exposure for others to join us on our Wisdom Trek. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we also have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide, mentor, but most importantly, your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.